way most U.S. elections work is called plurality.
Racism, racialization, white body supremacy. Tonight, I'll be eating fried avocado tacos.
Thank you. Ooh, you gonna eat that at Leslie Palooza?
What? Who's coming to that?
Everyone coming. Everybody. You, her, me, all of us.
We are live. Live. We are live. Gonna put this lo-fi down a little bit. Okay, good morning. This is the Minutemen Report. Let's get this audio right. Let's get the visual right. Same thing with every morning. Same thing with every podcast, I'm pretty sure. I think the first 5 minutes is everybody messing with everything and getting everything situated. And welcome in, guys. We are streaming live on Twitch, on Trovo, on Dlive, on YouTube. It's going to be restreamed on Bitchute and on YouTube. Action-packed day today. A lot of news in the 24-hour news cycle we're going to be going over today. Quite a bit. As I put on the headline, Biden bribes kids. There's a Juneteenth disaster, and the subway saga continues. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and start it off. First on the docket today, Morgan Stanley Bank bans unjabbed workers and customers from their building. No jab, no entry. This is according to the New York Post. Morgan Stanley will bar employees and clients who have not been fully jabbed against the virus from entering the bank's offices, according to an internal memo that got leaked. Starting July 12th, all employees, contingent workforce, clients, and visitors will be required to attest to be fully jabbed in order to access Morgan Stanley buildings. That's going on. We got the Chief Human Resources Officer, Mandel Crawley, said in a memo, which was obtained by the Financial Times. So this is the guy, the Chief Human Resource Officers. We got the HR department. That's how it's going to come in every single time, is going to be through the HR department. So we have that going on in Morgan Stanley, and they are big. So I think this is just overseas. I don't think this is in America, but this is always how it starts. They're going to run a beta trial everywhere they can, just like there's always beta tests going in California to see if it'll fly, and then they roll it out on the rest of the country. Same thing with the Green New Deal. Everybody didn't say anything about the Green New Deal over in California. They have rolling blackouts. Next thing you know, now they're trying to run it out on the whole country. So this is going on, Morgan Stanley. They have a pretty hardline jab requirement with its executives. They're alleging that it's a push for a swift and full return to the office is what they're alleging. So next thing you know, this is according to Sky News. Sky News always the first on things. This is actually this was a couple weeks ago, but nobody really reported on this. This is what the WHO said. WHO warns that masks and social distancing are here to stay. This is on the 9th. They said this of this month. So jabs alone will not be enough to beat it, and people will have to adapt their lifestyle and keep minimizing contact with others to prevent it from spreading. A leading expert warned in the WHO. So we got Dr. David Nabarro, the WHO organization's special envoy, told Sky News K. Burley, though, although life has to go on, quote unquote, the public should continue wearing face masks and behave carefully. We're going to have to continue to behave as though it is an ever-present threat. So this is something that's here to stay. The WHO is claiming masks, jabs, doesn't matter. They're trying to get it here to stay. All right, so according to the article, but there remains concern for concern over the spread of the Indian variant, also known as this Delta variant. And this was kind of the first time I heard about this. Was a couple weeks ago. I don't know. It's supposed to be. Some people are alleging that it's shedding from the jab, and other people are saying that it just mutated. And this is as investigations go on as to the origin of this. And this is all kind of coming up now. So if this ends up flying, and this what do they call it? Gene sequencing research. What do they call it? Gain of function research. Just continues. If it just flies that this is okay, then I mean the gain of function research is going to continue. We're always going to have new variants, and it's kind of expected. It's just going to be one of those things. We're going to end up opening the ovarian window after that, and it's just going to be kind of whatever. So, express.co.uk yesterday. Finally, the annual Dog Fest is underway in China. Finally. But it's not your grandmother's Dog Fest. Okay, these people are eating dogs, thousands of them. They're going to be murdered and eaten over the next 10 days right now in the annual Yulin Dog Meat Festival in, how do you pronounce GXI? How does that? Guangzhou? The festival goes on despite outcries from campaigners who say it's cruelty to animals and public health risk. I mean, look what happened in the wet market when people were eating bats and all sorts of weird birds. I mean, same exact things happen. This is going to go from the Delta variant to like the Omega variant. So the festival goes on. The Yulin Festival first launched in 2010, where as many as 15,000 dogs were killed. So they went pretty big in the first festival, a little bit bigger than what's going on now. Chinese and international pressure has seen this figure reduced to around 3,000 dogs. So it's estimated that around 10 to 20 million dogs are slaughtered in China every year. So I guess this is kind of nothing new, apparently. They're just celebrating their dog eating at this Yulin festival. So the Chinese tradition of eating dog meat dates back around 500 years and is believed to ward off the heat of summer. So this is really their kind of like their religion. It's their beliefs. This is how they eat kosher. They eat dogs. They feel like it's good for them. It's good for their deities that keep them away from heat. Last weekend, activists intercepted a dog truck packed with 68 dogs heading for Yulin slaughterhouses. So at least they're like intercepting these dog trucks then. At least they're like kind of trying to stop it from the political pressure. I mean, that's good. Many of the dogs were in poor physical health after traveling a long way with no food or water. They were crammed in so tightly that they were found panting and traumatized. That's awful. That's just awful. So the Yulin dog festival is going on. So whatever. It helps them ward off the heat, they claim. I don't know. That's why there's shark fin soup and all sorts of weird stuff that they claim help with all sorts of stuff. It's really just a fad. Those people will just spend money on anything, really, is kind of what I'm thinking. They'll just eat anything. Look how many people are over there. So this just in today, this morning, from the Gateway Pundit, Hillary Clinton's campaign official and founder of Organization to End Sexual Violence Against Children is arrested today on child rape charges, sentenced to 13 years. Okay, Joel Davis was a Hillary Clinton campaign official and founder of the organization Youth to End Sexual Violence. Joel was arrested in 2018 after engaging in sex with a child. Davis also had 3,700 images and more than 330 videos of child porn, including numerous images of prepubescent minors who had not attained 12 years of age. Pervert. Joel was nominated for a Nobel Prize for his work. I hope we're talking about different work here. He was sentenced to 13 years this week, and may his 13 years be long and painful. This is just awful. Go figure, it's always the people, just like the person that started the Amber Alert, complete pervert that changed her name. She used to be a part of the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they used to run kids from Haiti. That's a thing. So, I mean, just again with the Hillary Clinton campaign, they just can't get away from this. And of course, it's the founder of the Youth to End Sexual Violence. I mean, this is just sick, man. These people just do it in plain sight. That's how the devil works. They got to tell you what they're doing, because if you don't do anything about it, they can you technically gave them your soul. So it's really unfortunate. It's good that we're doing something about this, though, and actually something's going down. So he got 13 years. I'm really hoping that it's not because he just made somebody mad and they just came after him. I'm really hoping that it was because, you know, there are good guys out there that really were putting in investigation, really putting in the hours, and it just didn't come from up top like, hey, look at this guy, just because that guy pissed somebody else off at the top. So I'm really hoping so, but we'll see here. Good work, boys. 13 years. All right, so the Washington Post 2 days ago says, what is this? This is a YouTube post. We're actually going to watch this post. What is white racial identity and why is it important? Whites must start white accountability groups here. Okay, we're definitely going to check this out. Okay, here, if this thing will actually load. Let's see. All right, here we go. Sorry, hold on, let's get this right. So, white accountability groups is what they're saying. Oh, technical difficulties. Not what I was trying to do either. Undo. Okay, here. Great. Sorry, guys. This didn't work out how I planned. I probably should have practiced this before I did it. Whatever. Wait. Okay. We're getting there. Okay, well, this isn't working here. Let's try this way. Of course not. Yeah, we're just going to play it anyway. Whatever. You guys are just going to have to deal with it. This is so bad. This is just so awful here. This isn't even going to work. Oh my goodness. Page unresponsive. Well, we're not doing it, guys. So, yesterday... Jesus Christ. Okay, well, back to what we were talking about anyway. Sorry about that, guys. Well, yesterday, surprisingly, Fox and New York Post actually slammed him for it. It's basically just saying the white people need to come out and just take responsibility for being white. It's pretty awful, but whatever. We're going to have to practice on that YouTube stream there. All right. So, according to Disney here, Snow White is no longer going to be white. That's happening. So, Rachel Zegler, she's going to head up the upcoming Disney film of Snow White. She's used to Hollywood remakes. She previously did Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. So, the Amazing Spider-Man director was the guy behind that one, and shooting next year. They're probably not even going to capitalize the letter W in Snow White's last name because it's probably going to be offensive to somebody. And by somebody, I mean suburban white women, because that's really the only people that care about things like Snow White being white. So, pretty unfortunate, but, you know, what are you going to do? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They're probably not going to be midgets, though. The Seven Dwarfs, I don't know. Is little people offensive? What's more offensive, little people or dwarfs? What do you think? Little people or dwarfs? What's more offensive? The Seven Dwarfs, the Seven Little People. Snow Zegler, and the 7 Little People. Well, oh well, sorry guys. If you guys want to watch any Disney movies, you're gonna have to go and grab them from VHS right now. I mean, the prices of VHS went up. I remember when they were like a quarter. I went over to see. I got Tequila Sunrise and that movie The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin the other day on VHS, just for like nostalgia, just to watch it with the grainy and all that and stuff. And it was like 50 cents for a VHS. I was like, what's going on? What the hell's going on here? I think it's just a nostalgia thing that people know, supply and demand. Sorry, man. I guess these VHSs are going up. I guess I'm not the first person to think about this, but if you guys want your favorite Disney movies, do not get them streamed. You're better off going and getting them. Go and get the old, the tracking where you got to set the tracking on it. Some VCRs have the auto tracking, so you might be lucky. Some TVs already have it built in, So you might not even have to go get a VCR, The VCRs now are probably like $200, $300. Like it's ridiculous. Like my girlfriend tried going and getting something to play some old home movies, and just the handy cam recorder for a VHS-C is like $300. So nostalgia is coming back. Okay, we might be digressing from all the technology. Maybe I think everybody might just be warped from it. Maybe everybody's just trying to backtrack a little bit. We need a little bit of old school in our life anymore. I think everything's just way too new school. Certain things are coming back that are weird, like mullets. Like you're seeing mullets coming back right now. Why can't VCRs come back? Like, take back the mullet. You guys can have the mullet. Just let's get some VCR. Enough with all this. As I'm saying this on a live stream, go and get your Disney movies on a VCR though. Okay, that's the way to go, because cancel culture is real. All right, so this is Newsweek. This was actually a couple months ago this came out, but I thought it was pretty interesting just because nobody really reported on it. Can blood from young people slow aging? And Silicon Valley has bet billions that it will. All right, so the Spanish firm Grifols went alongside with other firms and offered nearly double the going price for blood donations from treatment trials from the virus. Okay, so Brigham Young University in Idaho had to threaten some Enterprise students with suspension to keep them from intentionally trying to contract the virus because they were getting paid double for their blood. So the trial failed, however, and now the Barcelona-based firm is hoping to extract something far more valuable from the plasma of young volunteers, a set of microscopic molecules that could reverse the process of aging itself. Okay, earlier this year, Grifols closed on a $146 million deal to buy Alkahest, which is a company founded by Stanford University neuroscientists, along with these other people, 2011 to 2014 scientific published studies from young mice had seemingly miraculous restorative effects on the brains. All right, so the blood from young mice had seemingly miraculous restorative effects on the brains of elderly mice. So, very strange. I guess they're doing like blood transfusions with younger blood. It's probably because when you get older, your blood becomes like less elastic, or I don't even know. Same thing like with your skin and collagen and things like that. So they're trying to just 2021 vampire status here. Stanford University and some Idaho. What? Oh my gosh, this is happening right now. They're literally just, this is gonna not end well. Okay, so discovery adds to a hot area of inquiry called geroscience that seeks to understand molecular and cellular mechanisms that make aging a major risk factor and a driver of common chronic conditions and diseases of older adulthood, like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, things like that. So that's really what they're studying right now. According to the National Institute of Health, in the last 6 years, these people have identified more than 8,000 proteins in the blood that show potential promise as therapies. Its efforts and those of Grifols have resulted in at least 6 phase 2 trials completed to treat Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So that's pretty crazy. 8,000 things inside of your blood that are promising for therapies to just pump into other people's blood. Just blood to blood. So weird. So disgusting. It's like ugh. I don't know. Just grosses me out. Giving blood, just taking blood, all of it's gross. Just reminds me of mosquitoes and ticks. It's disgusting. So the Subway tuna saga continues. Now, I don't know if everybody ever heard of the Subway tuna scandal, but a little recap, it came out that there was no tuna in Subway tuna. And Subway came out, sent newsletters to people. My mom came out and called me a lunatic because she got one of those email newsletters from them. Okay, but the facts are in, according to people.com yesterday. Lab study determines there is no amplifiable tuna DNA, in Subway tuna sandwiches amid a lawsuit against the chain. Okay, so the New York Times tested more than 60 inches worth of Subway tuna sandwiches. So they tested like, what was it, like 4 foot, like 5 foot of tuna, and 5 foot of tuna from California locations to determine if the sandwiches had 1 out of 5 different tuna species. They just wanted just to see one, okay? Just give us a piece of tuna, something. So this was following a lawsuit in January, so the New York Times did this on its own, separate from this lawsuit. So the New York Times did it. Also, these people did it according to this lawsuit in January, which claimed there's no real tuna in the chain's ingredients. Washington Post was the first to report on the allegations. Strange. Washington Post was the first to report the allegations made by 2 California residents, Karen Donawa and Nilima Amin. Sounds like some Californians right there, who filed the lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. Subway claims that they use skipjack and yellowfin tuna species that the lab used by the New York Times would be able to detect. So the Subway gave the New York Times the tuna. They gave them the tuna to test on top of the lawsuit. They said, look, these lawsuits are crazy. Look, New York Times, we'll let you do your own test. So they gave them 5 foot of Subway subs. And even the New York Times couldn't find no amplifiable tuna DNA was present in the sample. And so we obtained no amplification products from the DNA, the lab study concluded. Therefore, we cannot identify the species. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I've eaten many more than 5 foot of Subway tunas. Okay, so the lab spokesman added, there's 2 conclusions. One, it's so heavily processed that whatever we could pull out, we couldn't make an identification. Or we got some, and there's just nothing there that's tuna. So it's either so over-processed that they couldn't even pull anything out to ID it. That's so crazy. You know how bad something has to be to where you can't even get DNA out of it? It's like one of those things, like even when police like find a body and it's just like mush, they could still pull DNA out of it. It's like, it doesn't even matter if it's just like a burn, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, you can still pull DNA. So it's so processed that they can't even identify anything. So, in the lawsuit filed January, the plaintiffs alleged Subway's tuna is made from a mixture from various concoctions that do not constitute, they use the word concoctions, that do not constitute tuna, yet have been blended together by the Subway defendants, to imitate the appearance of tuna. The complaint allegedly comes after the plaintiffs have had multiple samples of the tuna taken from Subway locations across California and tested in independent labs. So, and this is how you know somebody got paid mid-lawsuit, because right after this article, they report, it's like right at the bottom of this whole thing that they just put out yesterday. It was like updated. Since their initial claims, the plaintiffs have changed their allegations, stating their beliefs that Subway's tuna sandwiches are not 100% made out of tuna. And then it says in quotes right under that, after being presented with information from Subway's, the plaintiffs abandoned their original claim that Subway's tuna product contains no tuna. What is it? That's code, aka settled out of court. A spokesman for Subway tells people.com. However, they filed an amended complaint that now alleges our tuna is not 100% tuna and that it is not sustainably caught skipjack and yellowfin. So they went from saying that they went from having DNA that said that there is no tuna in it to changing their allegations and finding proof that there is no tuna in it, to changing their allegations, saying, well, it's not 100%. We know we found evidence that says that there's no tuna in it, or no tuna DNA in it. But now we're going to change the lawsuit and say, well, it's not 100% DNA, and I don't think it's sustainably caught tuna either. this tuna that doesn't exist. I don't think it's sustainably caught either. So they definitely shit. That's how you know somebody got paid. It was like a footnote at the bottom of an article that came out yesterday. Definitely clearly updated. All right. So what do we got here? The Daily Mail yesterday. More than 1 million American adults identify as non-binary. And this is a first of its kind study that shows this. So, according to the Daily Mail, more than 1 million American adults identify as non-binary. So that's 1/30 of the country say, man, women, I just don't even prescribe to biology or science at all. People. So 1/32nd, there's 32 million people in America, 39 million people, something like that. Probably now, since Biden's in, there's probably like 100 million people in America. But we're just going to go with the original, like 30 million. So that's like 1/30 of the country are just science deniers at the very least. Okay, so a study by the Williams Institute shows that there are now more than 1 million non-binary adults living in the United States. Non-binary people do not identify as either male or females and use they or them pronouns. How are you going to announce yourself as they, first of all? How are you going to call yourself plural? That just doesn't even make any sense. So they're science deniers and they're grammar deniers. So the study shows that a majority of those who reported being non-binary were under the age of 30, reside in cities where living below the poverty line, and have already attempted, 90% of these people have already considered committing suicide. So 90% of these million, that means 900,000 out of the million people that are non-binary have considered suicide. And may have experienced chronic stressors like not having enough money to make ends meet. Of course, they throw this into like a racial thing here. It's under the poverty line. How about just saying, look, they're under the age of 30 and they've considered committing suicide. They're half psychopaths, science and grammar deniers. How about just calling them that instead of throwing in like, well, they're under the poverty line, so technically we need to allocate some resources to fight this growing problem of... Wait, so hold on. Is it a problem? Is this... Because technically they're saying here that if these people weren't so poverty-stricken, that they wouldn't be identifying as cisgender and non-binary. Is that what they mean? So is being cisgender and being non-binary, is that an epidemic right now? Is that what they're trying to say? Are they praising people for being non-binary, or are they trying to say this is only happening because people are under the poverty line, and if we could somehow help that, we can help this epidemic of non-binary? Is that what they're trying to say here? Because somehow they threw this race bait in here to try to make it seem like it's like an economical problem, and I don't even think they even really did the math on what they were trying to say, how it's two conflicting arguments here. So this is crazy. 90% have said they have considered committing suicide out of the 1 million people that are now identifying non-binary in our country. God bless America. All right, so MAGA is now branded white supremacy in a leaked CRT training, critical race theory training for Iowa students. It just got mandated in Iowa, critical race theory. So MAGA is now branded white supremacy. They have like this pyramid scheme. They have like this pyramid chart for their critical race theory that shows basically everything on the left side of the pyramid is like subconscious racism, and then there's like overt racism, which is like a whole other thing. And then at the top, it's like, I guess you're okay at the top, something. But other things that are racist, according to this leaked document of critical race theory for Iowa, is Columbus Day is racist. American immigration laws are racist. Mass incarceration is racist. Denying white privilege or saying it doesn't exist is absolutely the most probably racist thing you could do. To say you're not racist is probably the most racist thing anybody could probably do, according to Iowa, this leaked document. Believing America is post-racial, mean we've graduated from slavery. Thinking that we've left slavery is completely racist. To think that we are post-racial, it's completely racist to think that. And believing people are part of a human family is absolutely racist. So so they're saying segregation is not racist? So believing that we're all a part of a human family is racist, but somehow segregating each other as being not a part of a human family is somehow not racist? So, I don't know. Those are the things that, according to this leaked document, it's overt and covert. examples of white supremacy. So there's overt on the left, and then there's covert. Basically meaning it's like subliminal white supremacy, and then there's like, you know, your over-the-top white supremacy. So, and then at the top, you're like not racist, which is like the small triangle at the very top, which is all just like suburban white women that basically aren't racist. Suburban, non-binary white women. That's basically the only people that aren't racist. So, according to this Iowa leaked documents for critical race theory, posted on by Zero Hedge. Zero Hedge did that article, and that was yesterday. So also we have yesterday, according to the New York Post, a Florida woman goes to the ATM to withdraw $20 and discovers she has $1 billion in her account. And this is in Florida. This is the second time this has happened in the last like 3 or 4 days. The first time happened with a guy out of Florida, and he like opened his Bitcoin, and he was like a trillionaire or something like that in his Bitcoin. So is there just that many billion-dollar transactions going around that mistakes are just happening just that many times? I just don't understand how all these people can just wake up with all these billions of dollars in their account on accident. Like, who's misplacing billions of dollars? And the guy that I reported on a few days ago that woke up like a trillionaire, he thought it was a glitch. Called, they're like, no, it's a glitch. You can't withdraw it, obviously. It's we're trying to figure it out. But his money was growing, actually. So it wasn't just like a typo or anything like that. It was legitimate transactions that are just, there's just that many billions of dollars of transactions going on right now where it's just, whoops. So it was Julia Yankowski, Chase Bank in Largo. She wanted to return the massive amount of money because she could not get a real person to talk to her bank. So she couldn't even, she said she was horrified. I know most people would think they won the lottery, she said, but she was horrified. I'd probably be horrified too. I'd think it was some sort of psyop, like they were going to try to put me out to be like some assassin or something and try to say, look at this white supremacist criminal here with this big bank transaction here. We got him, boys. Let's throw him in the gulags, throw away the key. I'd be kind of freaked out too if I got that transaction in my bank account. But yeah, that just happened yesterday, according to the New York Post. So what else do we have here? We have, oh my gosh, this is our other story of the day. Hilarious. So IKEA, this is the Juneteenth disaster from IKEA. They anger their black employees with a Juneteenth menu consisting of fried chicken, collard greens, and watermelon. So, and this was bound to happen, okay? Because like I said, the only people that really claim to know how black people feel just don't even know black people. So this was bound to happen with all this, like, critical race theory and people trying to be, it ends up coming off racist. Like, it ends up coming off very racist. It's always the best intentions. Like, I'm sure they were really, it was probably just some like 22-year-old, whoever that probably, grew up in a good neighborhood, and she works at IKEA. I mean, it's IKEA, okay? They don't, like, are you kidding me? It's fried chicken, collard greens, and watermelons. So this was, they said that this was supposed to honor and preserve black Americans, okay? Their initial menu also featured mac and cheese and collard greens. That was their initial menu, and they said, look, black people don't just eat mac and cheese and collard greens. They got to eat something else. What do black people eat? They're probably sitting here in IKEA in a meeting being like, what do black people eat? Oh, my gosh. They didn't even know. They went with mac and cheese and collard greens. And then they were like, watermelon and chicken. And then they added watermelon and chicken to the menu, and somehow that was supposed to, they were like, we got it. They're all high-fiving each other whoosh, in the IKEA back room. So the employee said the move caused a lot of people to be upset and added that people actually wanted to quit. People were not coming back to work, quote unquote, after this. And somebody came out to the report and said, you cannot say serving watermelon on Juneteenth is a soul food menu when you don't even know the history. They used to feed slaves watermelon during slave time, one employee explained. So some employees snapped on this. There was people probably freaking out about this, okay? After the menu started circulating, 33 people reportedly called out from work, prompting the unidentified store manager to send an internal email shortly apologizing for the menu. So this is just one person scratching their head trying to figure out what do black people eat? And this is what they came up with. This is the guy upstairs in the manager. This is the manager's office, okay? So now think of who all these guys at the upstairs at these news organizations. I mean, they are just as out of touch. These people are so out of touch with people, okay? And these people claim to know how minorities feel, and they're just so out of touch that they end up coming off as racist, okay? Person came out and said, I truly apologize if the menu came off as subjective. The apology read, it was created with the best of intentions by a few of our coworkers who believe they were representing their culture and tradition with these foods of celebration. Foods of celebration. Watermelon, collard greens. I can't believe they didn't. Of course they don't know black people, because I'm thinking cornbread. Where's the cornbread? I'm cool with fried chicken and cornbread and watermelon. Are you kidding me? I'd feel honored myself, really. But they didn't have the cornbread, so that's how you know they're out of touch. If they had cornbread there, it'd be fine. People would be like, whatever, he's got some cornbread, what? Okay. So, these foods of celebration. The manager, who reportedly didn't work with black employees, surprise, surprise, to set up the menu, said she changed the menu later. She. Okay, so they didn't even identify who this was until they finally dropped the hint. She changed the menu later, adding collard greens. Cornbread, I guess they did add cornbread, mashed potatoes, and meatloaf. I don't see what's wrong with that, really. Okay, they got it with the meatloaf. They probably didn't even have to add the meatloaf or the mashed potatoes. They probably could have just added cornbread and people would be happy, like I said. So none of the coworkers who sat down to create the menu, nobody was black. One employee told WGCL TV, it's not a good look when you don't include black people in your effort to celebrate black culture. It really isn't. It's not a good look. But these people swear they know what people think. So they swear they know, it's just employees countered the claim, noting that she only pushed it off by a day as it still featured fried chicken, mac and cheese, and collard greens. Gosh, gall, she says. Well, I mean, she didn't say gall. I kind of added that, but that's kind of what I figured she would say. So yesterday, according to the Gateway Pundit, you guys can check my page for this video. So the press secretary of the Biden administration says that Biden administration is partnering with the private sector to bribe kids with Xbox to get jabbed, or a $25 Walgreens gift card. I mean, hey, before July 4th though, so get it while you can. Get it while it's hot, guys. So the press secretary also said Fauci's creeping on kids on TikTok too. And I don't know if she used the words creeping on kids, but it's definitely how it came off to me. I'm just reporting it, okay? I didn't say it. Definitely very, very weird. But yeah, they're just trying to hoodwink people into getting this thing at this point. Really, it's not even come down to like being well informed or fear. It's not even fear mongering anymore. Now they're just hoodwinking people and just trying to bribe people at this point. It's gone well beyond. So the first, what is it, like 50% of people, they fear-mongered with it. Then they're like, okay, then next thing you know, it's like the sales pitch. You know what I mean? It's like the sales pitch for anything. You see how many people do it for nothing, and then you got to give a little bit, and then you give a little bit more, and then it's what, gunpoint after that? That's the grooming process. That's how we do it. But hey, like I said, I'm just reporting it. Okay, this is what they're doing. I mean, here's another thing. Hundreds of magnet challenges are out just since the other day when I reported on it with Richard. Okay, big tech cannot censor this stuff fast enough. Like, literally, there's ones of like an hour-long one where they're just going on and on about it. So, I mean, I'm just reporting it. There's more and more videos out. I don't know anything about it. If anybody has any science, let me know. So, this is kind of depressing also because I was born and raised in Florida. Say it every time with my chest. Love it out here. And even though Governor DeSantis, shills really hard for Israel and signs this moment of silence for the Noahide laws the other day when he flew over to Israel with Adelson. If you guys don't know what the Noahide laws are, check that out. It's like Sharia law, pretty much, like off with your head type. It's literally in the Zohar says off with your head if you don't worship the chosen people and the God that chose them and all this. Noahide laws are really, really weird. So DeSantis went over there with Adelson and signed this bill where all kids in Florida have to have a moment of silence for these Noahide laws. So he's been shilling pretty hard. And so he just quietly passed a forced jab on all Floridians. Okay, this law signed by DeSantis will not prevent forced jabination. Okay, so this is a guy, Chris Nelson, on freeflorida.me. He posted this, and I'm going to say the bill name and everything so you guys can check it out too. I went and fact-checked myself before I'm just reporting on this. But so June 21st, 2001 is when this was signed by DeSantis. It will not prevent the Florida Department of Health from forcibly jabinating Florida residents. Okay, SB 2006 was signed into law by DeSantis on May 3rd, 2021, and immediately hailed as a major victory by many medical freedom advocates because the law that he passed bans so-called the jab passports. So everybody was like, yeah, and kind of like, yeah, the jab passports, we don't have to have that in Florida, okay. It adds certain restrictions on state and local governments during a declared public health emergency, though, okay? And a little known and little spoken of section of the original statute states that the state health officer, upon declaration of a public health emergency, may take actions that are necessary to protect the public health. Okay, now some of these actions include ordering an individual to be examined, tested, jabbed, treated, isolated, or quarantined for communicable diseases that have a significant morbidity or mortality and present a severe danger to public health. Those refusing those actions may be subjected to isolation or quarantine. The most disturbing part of the section beneath, which reads, if the individual poses a danger to the public health, the state health officer may subject the individual to isolation or quarantine. If there is no practical method to isolation or quarantine the individual, the state health officer may use any means necessary to jabinate or treat the individual. Okay. Now, a lot of state statutes actually say this. It gives, under public health emergency, it gives the public health officer, the state public health officer, the ability to force isolate somebody. And if you cannot, it just says if you cannot force isolate somebody, that you have the right to jabinate that person. That person has to get a jab at that point, mandated for sure. And we say, well, that could never happen because we're all in our homes. You know what I mean? Like, we're not in a situation where we can't be quarantined. You know what I mean? We can always just go in our homes. But think of a world where there's so many people, like so many people. Like, think of a world where it was like California, like in San Francisco, and there were like hobos everywhere, and people simply like cannot get in a situation where no matter what, you're going to end up having to go around to somebody. Or what? Somebody's going to have to stay in their homes and get everything delivered by whatever, and then you can't go to work or whatever. Then it's going to be like, well, sir, you cannot come into this store because there's no way you can remain 6 feet because you don't have, you know what I mean? It's just like, right now it makes sense because, yeah, we can go in our homes and we're not in a situation. I can't even think of a situation where, but why would they include this? Why would they include this saying, if you're not in a situation, then we can mandate a jab? You know what I mean? It just leaves like this open-ended thing where it's like, I don't know what the open-ended thing's for, but all statutes in all states actually say that, and they give the public health officer the ability to do that. So definitely check with your local and state statutes and find that out for yourself. Post it with your post it on whatever page you have. Look for it. Find the public health officer's his what do they call it? His actions. Find out the actions, the legal actions of a public health officer in your local state, and post that wherever and say, hey, look what these people have the law to do. Petition your local people, let them know. So he banned the passports. Everybody's applauding. Everybody's in a frenzy to applaud the governor, DeSantis, for banning these passports and banning these masks, yet he's going over there and signing these Noahide laws into Florida. Moment of silence. He just got donated $1.3 million in order to do this, and these are the same. It's just strange. And I like Governor DeSantis. I mean, that's my guy right there. I mean, he made it. Whenever there's a public, or not a public health emergency, but a state of emergency, you can open carry in Florida, no mask mandates. He's definitely came through in the clutch in a lot of things, and I think that's mainly because people in Florida aren't going to go with it, because I feel like if he could get away with it, he would have tried. I don't think that he's necessarily like on our team here. I think that just like every state, just Florida, if you've ever met somebody from Florida, you can always kind of tell that they're a little different, a little weird. I mean, for God's sakes, that's where Jerry Springer, that's like the main hub of Jerry Springer. That's what he did it out of, is Florida. So people are a little bit out of their minds here, and they're not going to really necessarily prescribe to anything like mandates anyway. So he made it seem like you guys don't have to do this, and people weren't going to do it anyway. So it was kind of like one of those things. Like, it's not like, yay, DeSantis. It's like, yeah, of course there's no mandates over here. It's not going to fly. You know what I mean? So so they're rallying him together and trying to get, trying to turn him into this do boy and prop him up like some idol is what I think. And it's just going to be a Chabad Lubavitch, Ron DeSantis presidency is really what I think. He's going to be the runner up, instead of Kushner, because Kushner's got a lot of bad press. So instead, Chabad's going to put up DeSantis. I mean, they jumped ship on Trump. Okay, Chabad and Adelson and all those guys jumped ship on Trump, and they said that they were the only reason why he ended up getting elected anyway. They ended up, so they jumped ship on him, went to Biden, and now they got behind Biden. Biden gets elected, and now they're getting behind DeSantis, and you hear it all the time. He's going to be the runner up, but all these recent things has me questioning a little of the things he's doing. He's at the Wailing Wall with his yarmulke on, and this guy's like, freedom, the separation of church and state. He's like, but then all of a sudden he's going to turn around and make everybody have a moment of silence for the Noahide laws in all Florida schools. I think that's a little bit strange, like separation of church and state, let everybody worship how they want to, freedom of speech, all that. So I don't necessarily like anybody prescribing any of their religion onto me. That's kind of how I feel. So any laws that get passed doing that, it's kind of a little sus. I don't know. So it's a little bit, it always has me questioning some things. So, I mean, that's going on. Check out your public health officer's legal actions that he can do in your state. Post that. And I think that's pretty much it for today. Yesterday, I did my segment, The Truth Behind Q, and how Dr. Corsi and Steve Pachenik actually started the whole Q movement through Alex Jones and through 8chan, coming in direct orders from special intelligence and through the White House and things like that. So check that out. We're going to be restreaming this on YouTube, on Bitchute. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. The Minutemen Report, Trovo, Twitch, Dlive, all that. Okay, stop the op. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, same bat time, same